She jolts awake. Warm blanket. Strange room. A broad arm stretched across the far side of the bed. Her breath catches in her throat. Slowly, she turns her head, and there he is. A black cowboy, calm as still water, watching her like he's already figured her out. Her voice comes out shaky, hovering somewhere between outrage and something softer, something that sounds almost like hope. Did we sleep in the same bed? Before we continue, tell us in the comments what time it is and where you are watching from. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's get back to our story. Zara Mitchell stepped out of the rental truck and let the Arizona air swallow her whole. It was dry and honest, the kind of air that didn't apologize. Sedona was a postcard behind her, red rocks and gift shops and tourists with hiking poles. But out here, past the turnoff, it was just open land and silence and a sky that made you feel irrelevant in the best possible way. The wooden sign at the entrance read Tierra Alta Ranch. No tagline, no slogan. Just the name, burned into oak and planted in red dirt like a promise. Zara walked the gravel path with the kind of posture that usually made conference rooms rearrange themselves. Gravel didn't rearrange. It crunched under her heels and didn't care who she was. Neither did the man tightening a cinch beside a copper-colored stallion. He didn't look up. He finished what he was doing, forearms steady, fingers working the buckle, with the unhurried precision of someone who had done this 10,000 times and expected to do it 10,000 more. Then, and only then, he turned. His gaze landed on her with a quiet weight that didn't flinch. "You're Zara," he said. Not a question, a conclusion already drawn. She offered her hand. "I am, and you must be Cade." He shook it, warm, firm, one motion, then released. "Cade Holloway." A woman's voice sailed from somewhere inside the stable. "Cade, don't stand there looking dangerous. She's a guest." Delia Vasquez emerged from the barn doorway with a dish towel slung over her shoulder and kindness written into every line of her face, alongside something harder underneath, the kind of steel you earn. She pulled Zara into a hug that skipped the introduction entirely, like they'd already agreed to skip the formalities. "I'm Delia. You'll be in the guest house. You ride?" "I've ridden," Zara said carefully. Cade's expression didn't shift. "We'll see." It should have irritated her. Instead, it landed like cold water on a hot afternoon, blunt, clean, and somehow exactly what she needed. No one out here knew her last name. Nobody cared. The guest house was spare and perfect. Whitewashed walls, linen sheets worn soft with use, a porch that looked directly into the training ring. Zara didn't unpack. She stood at the window and watched Cade work in the long afternoon light. A dapple gray mare moved at the end of a long rope, ears pinned, hooves sharp and erratic. Cade didn't force her. He simply waited, breathing slow, body relaxed, letting the horse work through her own noise until she remembered something quieter. The mare's ears softened. Her neck dropped. She came to him. Zara's chest pulled tight. She could silence a boardroom with a glance. She could negotiate a merger before dessert. But she couldn't remember the last time she'd watched someone choose patience over pressure and mean it. Her phone buzzed. "Jordan Price. You still breathing out there?" "Barely," she typed back. "The lawyers are circling. 2 board members want a call tomorrow." "Next week," she replied, surprising even herself with how certain it felt. "I'm unavailable." A pause. Then, "Okay, be a human. You've earned it." She set the phone down and realized she was already moving toward the barn. Inside the tack room, a young woman was stacking grooming brushes with practiced efficiency, humming something low and tuneless. She glanced up when Zara appeared and broke into a grin. "You must be City," she said. "I'm Priya." Zara laughed despite herself. "Is it that obvious?" Priya tilted her head toward the yard where Cade was leading the gray mare toward the wash rack. "Only to everyone." Zara started to deflect, but the words dissolved before they formed. She was already watching him move, and she knew Priya could see it. Outside, Cade glanced at her boots, the ones she'd picked because they were beautiful, not because they were built for this, and his eyes moved to the lowering sun. "You should go change," he said. "I'm fine." His gaze dropped once more to her feet. Those aren't. Heat climbed her face. I can change. Do, he said, and turned back to the mare like the conversation had finished itself. She changed. When she returned, fitted shirt, worn jeans, the ranch boots Delia had left outside her door like she'd already predicted this exact stubborn detour. Cade handed her a hose without preamble. Rinse her legs. Slow. Let her see the water before it touches her. Zara opened the valve. The mare tensed, muscles bunching under silver-gray skin. Zara lowered the spray, let it fall wide and gentle, like rain finding its own path. Her hands steadied. The mare's ears rotated forward. Something that had been braced slowly released. Cade watched the same way he'd watched the rope work. Quiet, present, ready to catch whatever needed catching, but letting her earn it herself. Her name's Vesper, he said. She's beautiful, Zara murmured. She was a wreck when she got here. Took months. Zara glanced at him sideways. What did you do? He was quiet for a moment, like he was choosing words that wouldn't break anything fragile. I stayed. I didn't rush her. The simplicity of it hit Zara, like a bruise she hadn't seen coming. Stayed. Didn't rush. Her entire career ran on urgency, on leverage, on the next move. She didn't know what to do with a man who treated patience like it was power. When Vesper was clean and calm, Cade reached for the hose at the same moment Zara did. Their fingers crossed, barely contact, barely anything, purely accidental. Zara's breath caught anyway. Cade's eyes lifted to her face, as if he'd heard it. From the main house, Delia's voice carried across the yard. Dinner. The house smelled like roasted poblanos and warm tortillas. Zara sat at the long wooden table with people who laughed without performing, who said what they meant, and passed the salt without ceremony. Cade sat across from her, quiet as ever, but his attention was there, steady, unhurried, present in the specific way that made her feel like the only solid thing in the room. After dinner, she stepped outside into the dark. The stars snapped into view with a clarity that felt almost aggressive. Out here, the sky wasn't decoration, it was a statement. Cade was near the fence, moving through his nightly checks with the focused rhythm of someone for whom ritual was a form of devotion. You don't have to keep working, Zara said. I do, he answered. Why? He looked out at the pasture. Because I said I'd keep this place safe. The words settled somewhere inside her chest. Not control, not status, just a promise kept in the dark. I'm not used to this, she admitted, her voice quieter than she'd intended. He turned. Used to what? Being somewhere I can't control. His gaze held hers, steady, unafraid, completely unhurried. Then don't try to, he said. Just be here. The wind shifted and Zara shivered. Cade paused, then lifted his flannel from the fence post and draped it over her shoulders without making a moment of it. The fabric held warmth from his body, sun, leather, something solid that made her lungs finally loosen. Good night, Zara, he said and walked back to the barn. She drifted off on the porch steps without meaning to. She didn't know how much later it was when she surfaced, still dark, the air cooler now, voices somewhere low and distant. She felt warmth pressed along her back, an arm laid across the blanket near her waist. Not tight, not possessive, just there, like it had always been there, like it wasn't thinking about itself at all. Zara turned her head slowly. Cade, eyes closed, face relaxed in a way she hadn't seen during daylight, the vigilance resting. She sat up too fast, and the blanket slid. The room came into focus around her. Cedar walls, one window, morning still a rumor. The bunkhouse. His eyes opened, calm even through the surprise. Her voice came out rough and disbelieving, something shy mixed into the edges of it. Did we sleep in the same bed? Yes. Calm and plain, like the truth didn't need armor. Her fingers curled into the blanket. Why? He exhaled. You fell asleep on the porch steps. Delia found you first. She told me to get you somewhere warm. He paused. Your boots are off. She braided your hair so it wouldn't stick to your face. Zara looked down. Someone had tucked her in. Carefully. I didn't mean to fall asleep out there. I know. You didn't do anything wrong. And you stayed, she asked. The heater in your guest house went out, he said. Delia didn't want you waking up cold. His voice was even practical, offering her a clean exit from a moment if she wanted one. She looked around the small room. One bed, one window, cedar walls. She looked back at him. You chose this. The corner of his mouth shifted. Barely. I chose the warmest option to make sure you didn't wake up shivering. Her pulse did something inconvenient. Did I? She started. You reached for the blanket in your sleep, he said. Your hand landed on my arm. That was it. She sat up straighter, holding his flannel to her chest. Thank you. It came out steadier than she expected. Cade sat up too, leaving easy space between them, close enough that the room felt inhabited, far enough that nothing was assumed. Want me to walk you back? Zara looked at the dark pressed against the window and thought about the empty guest house and the cold. No, she said. Then, quiet or honest, I don't want to be alone right now. Cade went still, the way a person goes still when they understand the weight of what's just been placed in their hands. He lay back down, facing the ceiling. Zara eased herself down beside him, a careful gap between them, and the silence that followed was warm and full and oddly complete. I'm not used to people doing things for me without keeping score, she whispered. His answer came low and certain. Then you've been spending time with the wrong people. Dawn arrived slowly, a pale suggestion behind the ridge. When Zara finally rose, Cade was already dressed, already moving through the morning like it belonged to him. She found Delia on the porch with 2 mugs of coffee and a look that missed absolutely nothing. Sleep well. Zara wrapped both hands around the mug, felt the warmth seep in, thought about cedar walls and a steady arm and a silence that had asked nothing of her. Yes, she said, and because it was entirely true, better than I have in years. Delia's eyes held hers for just a beat. Then she nodded, like something she'd been waiting to hear had finally arrived. Good, she said simply. Good. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to be reminded that love makes the world a better place. Drop a comment below. What city are you watching from? Subscribe for more stories that prove love is still the most powerful force in the world.